Hi there, I am Lori Dope.
Hi, I am Catherine Rah Sarah Myers, and I'm in the house. Lori, how are you tonight? We're the Gratitude Girls, and we're speaking to you tonight from two different parts of the world. I am in Ontario, Canada, and Lori, where are you tonight? You're not in your hometown.
I am not. Tonight I am in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
What are you doing there?
So that's one of the things that we have for gratitude, right? So I am on our family vacation. Every year I take my entire family for a week on vacation somewhere, and we always go somewhere different. It's usually a beach scenery, but it's always somewhere different. I like to go visit different places, different cities, different beaches. And so this year we are in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I am blessed to have my three youngest children with me, and the two boys have their girlfriends with them. And I get to wake up and go for walks on the beach with my daughter this morning, and then this afternoon had lunch with the whole family, and then late this afternoon I went for a walk with my oldest son and his girlfriend, and then came back to get ready for our call.
And that's called Living the Life, Lori. And the last time we spoke, I was sitting in the Niagara region where we used to live. So, fresh news, we're in Toronto. We have moved, we're in a new home, we're in a high-rise building. So we've changed our lifestyle, our location, everything that we do, completely changed it, and that's just the way we roll over here. So I'm really grateful for the availability of options to us and the fact that we're so very flexible. This is amazing. Let me tell you something. Not only are we grateful for us and our surroundings and our loved ones, but I'm really grateful for my friends and you, especially. For those guests that are tuning in tonight for the first time, maybe haven't heard, what are we doing here? Why are we here together? What are the Gratitude Girls? It's such a catchy name. It just sings. But what is it that we are doing together? Would you like to give a bit of a recap to some of our new audience tonight?
Sure, absolutely. So yeah, Catherine and I actually met on stage. So with the company that we both work for, a greeting card and gifting company, there is one person every year that is picked for a theme for the company's big convention. And that year is the only year that I think there ever was that there was a tie. And Catherine won the award, and it was announced the Gratitude Award for that year. And then our CEO announced that there was a tie, and he then announced me. And so Catherine and I had never met each other before, from the United States and Canada and opposite teams. But I believe our CEO knew what he was doing, putting us together. And within 3 minutes of us walking off the stage, Gratitude Girls was born, and we had the domains and started our company. And now we speak and travel all around the world talking to people about sharing gratitude.
Yes, Lori, that minute that we met, that second when we touched hands, when we walked down the steps, when we were on stage together, when I was listening to you, I knew something was going to happen. I didn't know exactly what, but I knew that that moment would live forever. There would be a vibration that we would connect to and carry through with. And 4 years like that goes just like that. This is part of our DNA, it's part of our life. It's just the beginning. So for our audience who is listening tonight, you're tuning in because we have a special guest, because you're learning about what we do. Maybe it's the first time you've heard about us. Maybe it's the 100th time you've heard about us. We're sharing our gratitude by listening to stories of those around us. And sometimes people are really close to us, as I'll explain in a moment, like physically, geographically, emotionally. And sometimes our guests are all over the world and they're on different time zones, and they could be 12 hours, 14 hours difference. So we connect with you wherever you are, and you can connect with us and share what it is that you're grateful for. a story, a moment, something that happened in your life. And Lori and I are listening and basically interviewing and being interviewed by people all the time about what we're doing. So this is a safe place for you, our audience, and the people that you know to come and share what has gone on in your life. What message would you like to give to someone? And sometimes we have to wait a really long time to get a guest on, which gives me the segue into our guest tonight. I don't know how long we've waited to put this guest on our show, but based on geography and technology, not for lack of desire, and I will let our guest explain a little bit more about that. Tonight, it took us to move, to relocate to Toronto to have our guest. The things that Gratitude Girls will do to get a special guest on the show and to host a good show, a great show. So I'd like to start with the introduction of, you never know when you're going to meet a best friend, your best friend, my best friend, you never know. Carolyn and I met one day, and in that second, Lori, very similar to how we feel, Carolyn and I developed a friendship. And that was a while ago. I'll let Carolyn speak a little bit about that. And we knew that there was something special. Carolyn's a Bowen therapist. She has a hands-on healing practice. What she does is basically, and she'll tell you the detail, she can use her intuition plus her skill, what she's trained to do, and she works with the vibration of the body. It's a gentle touch therapy. Aside from that, you would imagine that person would have to be a gentle person, and Carolyn is. And then when you get to know a little bit more about her, she owns 5 horses. She'll tell you how many more animals she has. So this gentle touch, healing hands woman feeds 5 1,400-pound horses every single day, twice a day. And I wonder, do you have to be gentle or strong, or rough or soft? What combination of a person do you have to be in order to touch someone and heal them and get 5 horses to be where you want them to be? With this introduction, I'd like to tell you that I am honored and thrilled to have sitting next to me and on our show tonight, Carolyn Jackson from Tottingham, Ontario, Canada. Welcome, Carolyn.
Thank you, Catherine. It's very nice to be here now that you're 45 minutes away from me instead of 2 hours plus. Yes. It's much easier to get here now.
Thank you. And nothing would keep us apart, just like Gloria and I. Nothing will keep us apart. Well, Carolyn, can you tell the audience a little bit about why are you a Bowen therapist? What is that? What does that mean? Most people have no clue.
Most people have no clue. In fact, I'm really excited when I meet somebody who actually knows what I'm talking about. But Bowen therapy is a therapy. It was developed in Australia, actually, many, many years ago by a gentleman who had absolutely no medical training whatsoever. He worked in a cement plant in Australia, but he had a desire and an innate ability to heal people, and that's what Bowen does. And I found Bowen because I was looking for a way to work with my 5 horses, and I came across the therapy and how it was used for horses. So in answer to your question, you don't have to be a big, tough person to work with a horse. You just have, they're very smart and they're very intuitive animals, so it's really easy. You just have to understand them and listen to them. But that's where I started with Bowen. I started with horses, and I love to treat horses because you can watch them, actually watch the therapy work with them. But graduated and moved on to people. So I work mostly with people now, and horses only when I get the chance.
So let me ask you a question. Do you talk to the horses? How do you tell the horse where to go and when to go?
He kind of does that. He outweighs me by a few hundred pounds, so he kind of goes where he wants to go. But when it comes to the therapy, they're either if they're desiring of the therapy and they trust you, then they'll let you work on them, and they'll be very, very communicative as to when they're finished and they've had enough of you. They will turn around and walk away. That's it. You're not touching me again. stop.
No, you don't let people get away with that, do you? How does it work with people?
No, people are much more captive, and they have the therapy for people is done on a massage table, just like a massage would be done. So they're and it's a timed therapy, whereas the animals let you know when they're ready for you to continue. People don't really have that innate ability, usually don't understand their bodies as well. So I time the therapy. Being said, there are pauses that are put in the therapy that makes it different from massage. So I do a little bit at a time, and I pause in between, but I can't wake up. I don't generally wake up the person and ask them if they're ready for the next thing. So I just let them lie there.
Okay, so what would be the reason that a horse or a person would need Bowen therapy, and how do they relate to each other, or do they?
Generally, when people are looking for therapy, it's usually pain related. So it would be to relieve the pain in the horse or the person. What Bowen therapy does is it turns off inflammation in the body, so it gives pain relief right away, regardless of what the pain is. It accesses the nervous system, and when the inflammation goes away, so does the pain. So the results are usually quite quick. I have people that get up off the table and their pain is gone. So it's pretty amazing.
Yes, I've experienced some of your magic touch. Now, is there a combination that you do something else, right? With Bowen, you do a detox. Can you tell us if those two modalities go together? Do they blend well? Do you recommend them?
They work the same way. In a way, they make the body more alkaline and less susceptible to colds and flus. So they can work the same way. It also depends. It's very individual. So some people's bodies can do both therapies at the same one after the other, and others there need to be spaced out. So we do the one therapy and let the body recover, and then do the other therapy.
Now, speaking of spaced out, Lori, I don't know if you've ever had a Bowen therapy, but some people might be they might be more susceptible. So whenever I have a Bowen session, I call it, like, I kind of go to this really weird place. You get a Bowen buzz. I don't know how else to explain it, because through Bowen, you get very lightheaded and you feel like you're floating. And it's a very euphoric type of experience. So if you're in pain, I imagine the euphoria would be perhaps lessened. But if you use Bowen therapy because you believe in overall general well-being, and you put that into your life because you feel that it would be a preventative type modality, then you might be able to feel what I feel. And those Bowen buzzes are kind of like, I can't drive after, I can't walk after, I can't work after that. A Bowen therapy has to be done when I'm not going to see anybody after that. Because you really, for me, I'm susceptible to it. I engage in it. I totally love the way it feels. So when Carolyn talks about someone contacts her when they're in pain, imagine if you're not in pain and you decide to have this therapy because it's like going to your other, perhaps alternative medicine modalities, or the other people in your life, other types of medical and non-medical type practitioners. So if you add Bowen therapy and detoxification, you could really feel good by taking care of your health. You know, that feeling when you're eating well and your body gets really used to that, and then you eat something that's not well and you feel kind of not so good. Well, Bowen therapy keeps that euphoric feeling, and I totally can't understand why everyone is not doing that. To me, it should be, you know, not only a trend, but a way of life. But in your practice, Carolyn, so how long are you practicing?
10 years now.
10 years, so that's a decade. So in your practice, there must be some special moments, some pivotal moments in your practice that you knew this was going to be different. Can you share perhaps a story, someone that you're very grateful for, someone that you treated, maybe someone that you haven't told how you feel? They may not be watching tonight, but you can take this moment to share your gratitude with them. Would you be able to dig deep and share that with us?
Certainly. Well, I'm very grateful for the therapy actually in itself, because it can make, it can just change people's lives right away. I have a very recent client who is, you know, an avid walker, and she loves to walk, and she couldn't walk anymore because her knee didn't work, and they finally did a knee replacement, and it still doesn't work. But she gets off the Bowen table, and she goes for a walk with her husband, and they walk around the block, and she's ecstatic. Nobody can get, none of the other treatments, the regular treatments, have helped her. But when she has Bowen, she just loves it, and she gets up and she walks. And to me, when I can do that for somebody, if I can help them get, you know, the things that they love to do that they've stopped doing because of pain or anything, she's so ecstatic. I mean, she just gave me a big hug. She got off the table and she bent her knee. And she said, "Oh my God, look, I can bend my knee." And she's bouncing up and down. And she gets her husband and they go for a walk. It was great. And another person, same thing, loves to travel. Couldn't travel anymore because she had restless leg, and she'd given up traveling because she couldn't sit. She'd have to get up. They couldn't even go in the car. She'd have to get up and get out of the car and walk around. One Bowen therapy session, and it was gone. In fact, she calls me about every 3 months just to make sure it doesn't come back. I think I've been seeing her for about 6 or 8 years now, but it's never come back after the first session. And she travels all the time. In fact, when she's going to travel, she calls me and tells me I have. So when I can help, that's why I'm grateful for the therapy, because it can give people back their life.
What about people who claim they need to go have hip replacements? You know, I sometimes read, and I read things like Facebook, you know, and I read these stories about someone telling me the other day that they had to go for a hip replacement, and I felt compelled to say, you have to call Carolyn Jackson, and they didn't know you. So tell me a little bit about, what about when somebody needs that? I mean, certainly I'll refer you, but how does Bowen therapy work in a situation like that?
In a situation like that, if it's gotten to the point where they're actually doing therapy, the replacement, it's almost too late for Bowen. What Bowen can help do, if there's been the degeneration in the hip or the knee, those are the usual things we're replacing. Before it gets too bad, but because Bowen can turn off the inflammation and get the body moving better, we can postpone, sometimes permanently, but postpone for a very long time, the need for the replacement, either the knee or the hip, because it keeps the body moving. Because its ultimate effect is to balance the body. When the body gets out of balance, then things wear unevenly, and that's when we get one bad knee or one bad hip, and because we're not even. So Bowen will help the body get back to being balanced and even. So it will usually help. It won't necessarily permanently put off that inevitable surgery if the damage has already been done.
Now, what about organs? You know, sometimes we hear about people having inflamed organs, so not a bone or a joint. What about that?
Absolutely, because Bowen accesses the nervous system, it can affect the entire body. We work very closely with digestive disorders, digestive problems, because inflammation on the inside, whether it's the stomach or the gallbladder or liver, anywhere there's inflammation, the body will turn off, so the body will start processing better. Also, is effective for headaches. It can even help balance the body to improve conception for people who are having conception issues. And respiratory, that would be the other thing. So allergies and asthma, because there's an inflammation in the lungs. It turns off the master switch, and so it affects everything in the body.
What about women who are maybe over 50 or 55?
Don't know anybody like that.
How does that help those kinds of women?
Well, over 55, we're probably past menopause at that point. It does help with menopause because it can help turn off the hot flashes and the night sweats that women have. After 55, I don't know. Actually, it helps everyone. It's the gentlest therapy I know. I can treat a infant with colic right through to my oldest client, I think, is 92, I think.
And your youngest?
The youngest one I treated was a couple of months old. She was a preemie, so she was having trouble breathing. So we treated her for a while, and she improved faster than all her other playmates. I think that's what it was.
Mm-hmm. That's fascinating. Now, let me ask about a day in the life of Carolyn Jackson. Aside from the wonderful work that you do, and the fact that you have horses, can you paint a picture for our audience? Tell us a little bit about what is it like to be the woman who has healing hands, 5 horses. What is your day-to-day life? Do you have other animals?
Yes, I have quite a menagerie of animals. So my day starts with feeding them in order. So the dog gets up first and she gets fed. Then I have 5 orphaned kittens that are now living in my living room. So they get fed because they're the next noisiest. And then the horses get fed. And then Rocco gets fed after that.
Could you explain what Rocco is?
Rocco is my husband.
Okay.
Okay. He's last on the list. So I'm either shopping for, I go on days that I just spend shopping for food. So I have to go to the cat food store, the horse food store, the people food store, and then. So.
What do you feed horses?
My horses are, some of them are quite big and they don't need to get any bigger. So they're just on compressed hay. It just sort of occupies them while everybody else is eating. The rest are on pelleted or grain food.
So your day is a very nurturing day. I admire that. What could you tell our audience a little bit about? Where do you live? What is it like? How do you house all these animals and your wonderful husband, Rocco?
I live just north of Toronto, about 45 minutes north of Catherine. We have 10 acres in a little town called Tottenham, which is growing substantially, but we're still outside on our own 10 acres with barn and a pond and all kinds of animals wandering around. Oh, there's more cats in the barn too. I forgot to mention those. I think there's 5 more cats, and I think somebody had kittens just before I left today. So I don't know how many there are. I couldn't find them. I could just hear them. So we're growing exponentially at our 10 acres in Tottenham. It's a beautiful area, very wet right now. We just got flooded out the last couple of days, so we're drying.
Wow, that's an awful lot of responsibility, but I'm sure that you love it. Lori, I have so many more questions for Carolyn, but did you have anything specific to ask Carolyn about her bone therapy, her life, her animals?
Yeah, so one thing I was wondering, so, my mom, well, Catherine, but anyway, my mom was a massage therapist, so I was raised all my life very natural inclined and remedies and things like that. So how do you compare, your Bowen therapy with like massage therapy?
Well, I love massage therapy, so I don't ever want to knock it because I love having a massage. The difference in the technique is that there are pauses put in therapy, and the difference in the result is usually that the massage therapy is a temporary result, and Bowen gets to the root of the problem, and quite often it's a much longer lasting effect and sometimes permanent relief from the pain. So yeah, I love them both, but for different reasons.
And so what do you do for the Bowen therapy? Like, so if you were treating me, how do you do it? I mean, is it like pushing the acupressure points, or like what exactly, can you describe what that is?
I can demonstrate it.
You can demonstrate it.
Yeah. Let's just demonstrate. Let's do a demonstration.
Let's do a demonstration. What do you want me to fix?
I don't know. You pick what needs to be fixed.
Okay. Well, it is. It's a very gentle touch, and it is a lot like acupressure. it's also, it's very specific. So there's a technique to Bowen. When you're a new Bowen client, we always start with, we always do a holistic approach. So we start with the lower back, the upper back, and the neck. We get your whole body balanced, and then we address why you're there, whether it's your knee or your shoulder or whether it's an internal problem. So, yeah, what would you like me to fix?
Let's start with, I had 6 hours of dealing with my cell phone today and technology. So let's say I might have a little bit of a headache from that.
You might have a headache from that.
Little bit. Tech support.
Tech support. So, so it might be probably in your neck. It's probably a little bit tight. So we just do a little. The neck has many connections. We would do, and with Bowen too, we'd always do both sides. It's all about balance, even if it was just on one side. What that will do is relieve all the stress in your neck. They could do your head, but I'd have to stand up behind you.
Will I look funny?
No, you won't. Well, look as funny as you would have if you were face down on a massage table and just getting up.
We could do that part later.
We'll do that.
I feel this lightness. I really respond to Bowen. I kind of feel like something lifts.
It's your body processing from the signals of the body. Bowen is more like a guide than a therapy. It helps with the Bowen therapy. We believe that the body has an innate ability to heal itself. And really what we're doing is we're clearing the pathways, helping the mind and body to reconnect so that the body can heal itself. We talk about the sympathetic and the parasympathetic being, because our lives are so busy and crazy, we live in a sympathetic state. We weren't really intended to live there. That was intended for us to use running away from wild animals and, you know, guys with guns. We live sort of in that day-to-day, we live in that state. So our body isn't able to heal, so it gets stuck. We get hurt and it gets stuck. So what Bowen does is it unsticks or it breaks the pattern, and that allows your body to go to the parasympathetic where it needs to heal, where we're supposed to live, but we're probably not to do that. But Bowen helps. So even if you've started therapy and you've had it before, your body can remember. So if you do injure yourself or you hurt yourself or you get stressed out, the body has, you know, been trained to go back there, so you can get there a lot more easily.
So if someone is in pain and they don't know about Bowen therapy, how do they get to you?
How do they get to me? Well, I can find me on Facebook. I have my Lasting Healthcare page on Facebook. Because the therapy is really really referral based. People, it's so unknown. People have to be, you know, it has to be a sort of a word of mouth message. People who get therapy and they feel great and they pass on the therapy. That's really the best way, because the therapy isn't something people just go out and try. They want to hear it from somebody who's had it and had a good result from it. So it's really, yeah, it's really a word of mouth business.
So you talked about traveling. So would you say, let's talk about an ideal client. Would it be someone who's busy, someone who travels? Would it be an athlete? Would it be a ballerina? Would it be an actor, an actress? Would it be someone who has, what's the ideal client for you?
That's a really hard question, because Bowen is effective for anyone. I do love working on athletes though, because their bodies they respond really, really well, because their bodies are really tuned to that, to respond. But I love working on everybody. Babies are great too, but they usually only take one treatment, so I never really get to know them. That's an interesting question. An ideal client is just somebody who wants to get better.
And could we assume that, for example, today, okay, I feel a headache coming on. Would you be able to tell people that they don't have to be in excruciating pain to have Bowen as part of their life?
Yes, I would love that to be the outcome for most of my Bowen clients. I would like to be able to help them with their acute or initial pain and then help them to maintain that. So because we want to be able to stay in that parasympathetic state that we talked about, by maintaining that by regular Bowen treatment, even when you're not hurt. I mean, our human nature is to just call me when, call me when you're hurt, but it's better to just to maintain it and keep your body in that nice, balanced euphoric state.
Well, would it be a fair comparison to say, when someone goes to, let's just say, Weight Watchers, they're going to Weight Watchers, they're following a plan, they're being monitored, and then there's a maintenance plan, or a chiropractor, or a naturopathic doctor. Would it be fair to say that when you engage in a therapy and treatment, you're being monitored and accountable, and then you can go on a maintenance with Bowen?
That would be perfect. And with Bowen, it wouldn't have to be very often. Once the body is set on the pattern of moving forward and keeping balanced, probably every 3 months or 3 or 4 months would be enough to keep the body moving forward and balanced.
Now, does Bowen have to be me in front of you, or can you do Bowen remotely?
Mm-hmm. Bowen can be done remotely. I have experienced it myself. I'm working on that skill. I haven't had a lot of call for that because people like the hands-on, but there is the ability to do it.
Well, I will definitely give you a call on that. Tell me how that works. Okay, Lori, let's hear about this. We could be traveling and we could ask Carolyn to do both. So could you explain that World Wide Web Bowen to us?
It's, again, like Bowen therapy, air Bowen, as we call it, is a little more difficult to explain. But it is. It's energy. It's tapping into your pain and relieving it for you. Just, it's that mind energy connection. I actually go through the moves myself. Like if you're calling me because your neck hurts, you've got a headache, I'm envisioning myself treating you and relieving your pain.
Is there a special price for that?
I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Lori, we should talk to Carolyn about that. Do you have any other questions for Carolyn and her Air Bowen? My goodness, I didn't know where this was going to go tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So aside from business and the Bowen therapy, obviously that's a huge part of your heart of wanting to help other people as well as animals. And so that is wonderful. Tell me something else in your life that you're grateful and thankful for. Do you have another story from somewhere that you want to share with us really quick?
Let me see. Well, I'm very grateful. I have 3 beautiful children and 3 beautiful granddaughters, and I am grateful for them. They, 3 of my 1 daughter and 2 granddaughters have actually moved back home. So I'm actually grateful for the time that I now have to spend with them. Of course, I have 5 kittens upstairs, so I'm very attractive grandmother right now. I don't know how long that will last, but I'm grateful. I'm actually really grateful for those little kittens too, because they've really taught me a lesson in caring and being able to let go, and which I had to do with my children, but they kind of just left, and it was their choice. With the kittens, I'm sort of deciding that, and it's been a really good lesson for me. So I'm really grateful to have all these animals and people in my life that I learn from every day.
Carolyn, tell us a little bit more about yourself. What are some of the things that you like to do? What are some of your passions, the things that you enjoy to do?
well, we know I love to be on the farm and I love to be with the animals. I grew up the daughter of a car dealer, so I do have a passion for automobiles. I'm a big fan. You can see my driveway. You would, there's only 2 of us in the house that drive, and I think there's at least 10 cars in the driveway. Convertibles, and the trucks are all gone now, but we each have a convertible and another car to drive, and some spares around. So growing up with the car dealer as a car dealer's daughter gave me that inspiration too. So cars are fun. We spent last weekend in Montreal at the Formula One Grand Prix, so that was fun too. And there's some really fancy cars there, so we just walk up and down the streets and look at all the cars. So yeah, cars would be another passion of mine.
And I know there's one other little thing you haven't mentioned, so I'm going to prompt you towards it. But is garlic a part of your life?
Oh, garlic. Yes, I must say that if you didn't know that Rocco was Italian by his name, he is. And he has a passion for garlic. So my acre of a backyard now has 8,000 garlic bulbs planted in it. So we are organic garlic farmers as well.
Wow, I love garlic, but 8,000?
8,000, and we planted them, each one.
Wow.
What's going to happen with that garlic? Tell us, what do you do with 8,000 garlic plants?
We're looking at it now, but in about a month, it will be pulled out of the ground, and it gets hung in my barn. The horses aren't really impressed with that. The barn smells like garlic for about a month, and as it cures, and then by the end of August, we'll strip it all down. And actually, apparently this year, I'm learning to braid it. So we're going to be selling braids of garlic. I haven't learned that yet, but that's my next month talent to learn. And so we'll have organic garlic for sale by the end of the summer. And then we plant it. So some of that will be for sale, and the rest will get replanted. So it's our retirement plan, because we can plant in the fall in October and leave, and it comes up all by itself in May or June. So it's a great retirement plan, I think.
Nice. So what is so 8,000 garlic plants, how long does it take you to plant them? And when you do all that, what kind of, you said it's a retirement plan, so what kind of profit would that yield for you?
Well, at this point, 8,000 is just the start. His goal is to have 20,000 in the ground. And we can sell the braids probably, because there's really no cost. It's all our labor. The garlic that comes out of the ground goes back in, and at $1 a bulb, then there's $8,000 planted in my backyard right now. It'll be 20,000 by next year. So I think I'm going to have to hire some people to do some planting when we get to that many.
What does a braid sell for?
$40 for a braid. So the clothes, or you've seen, their clothes are good size. There's 20 bulbs in a braid. So it'll be a $40 braid. We're not charging for my labor. I think maybe we should.
Yeah, you're doing free labor, but definitely charging for the garlic. So organic garlic. So what would you say for those of our audience? And I love garlic also, but some people are in the audience going, garlic, what do I do with that? Oh my gosh, it stinks, it smells. And tell us about it. Just take a minute or two and just tell us, why is garlic so important?
Garlic is very good for your health. It's excellent for your heart health. It's excellent for, it has antibiotic properties. It can fight off all kinds of colds, flu, disease, of course, vampires. Garlic is a really healthy thing to eat. It's good for your blood, good for your heart. Keeps you healthy. There's there's great ways to eat it. Because ours are so big, we can slice them off and we roast them. Slice the top off and roast them with a little bit of garlic oil and our olive oil, and they're very delicious. Very delicious. We also eat it raw every morning.
The difference, if you've never tasted this type of garlic, because I know when I hear I'm eating raw garlic, I'm thinking, wow, that's hot, that's spicy. It's going to be this strong sense. I've eaten organic raw garlic. My New York accent slips out when I get a raw garlic. And I've eaten Rocco's garlic, and it is actually sweet. So if you go to the store and you buy garlic and you think, okay, I know what garlic tastes like, I know what it smells like, you really don't know what organic garlic is like because it's completely different. Can you tell our audience a little bit about that?
It is completely different, especially most of the stuff that you buy in the store is imported, a lot of it from China, and a lot of it goes through a bleaching process that certainly our garlic doesn't do. Ours is on, we have 2 strains. And they're.
Can you still hear us, Lori? Yeah, 1 second. Just tell us if we're still connected.
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, awesome. We just lost audio. Go ahead, Carolyn.
Oh, okay, no problem.
An Ontario strain.
Ontario strain, a Quebec strain, and they're nice. They're very clean, and we don't use any pesticides or anything. In fact, I always joke that I grow my own fertilizer in the back. So we use a lot of horse manure to grow the garlic, but because it doesn't have any pesticides or it doesn't go through any of the bleaching, it has a very almost an sweet, oily taste to it. We did try to grow, and we still have some of an Italian strain, but they're much smaller and softer. You find the Ontario ones almost have they're very stiff, very strong neck, and so like one clove, the cloves themselves are huge, and you get 5 or 6 out of each bulb. So yeah. Excellent.
Lori, if you're coming in November to Ontario, when Carolyn harvests this crop in August or September, when you harvest it, we'll have some. You can have some garlic.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Get you some garlic. You're coming in November, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, November 11th. So let's put some garlic aside, and perhaps we can arrange something on those dates where we could. We'll be in Burlington. Maybe we can get together and prepare something for you.
Oh, sure, we could.
What do you think? Can
Absolutely.
we do that?
That would be wonderful. That sounds awesome.
Okay, we'll make it. And if my house is the most logical location, then we'll come to our place here.
Sounds good to me.
Good. Great. We could talk about this all night. Like certainly the healing lifestyle, which you've devoted your life to, Carolyn, and I know that you have other business, and you certainly are entrepreneurial, and you have retirement plans, and you think about the here and now, and you think about the future, and you certainly work with people's decisions from the past. And this is a great subject, and we certainly can talk about it for a long time. And I don't even know what to say, because I don't want to say, gee, our time is up. It isn't. We can talk all night. But our audience must have allowed 30 or 40 minutes or so for tonight, and I'm looking at the clock. And Carolyn, can we expect a follow-up from you? Can we read some of the things are you writing? Are you blogging? Tell us how we can know a little bit more. And again, how can we connect with you? How can our audience connect with you?
Yes, I post all kinds of Bowen information, Bowen stories, clinic case studies on my Facebook page, which is Lasting Healthcare. And that's probably the best way to learn about. There's a lot of Bowen therapy associations and groups that are always posting about case studies, and so that people can learn more about Bowen therapy, because it is one of those therapies that people just have never heard of. So that's the best way to find out about Bowen.
What about you? Can people connect with you on Facebook, on Instagram? Is there LinkedIn?
On Facebook and LinkedIn for sure. Carolyn Jackson.
Okay, all right, awesome. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you so much for being our guest tonight. It's fascinating to me because health and our bodies, which are forever evolving, and how we stay on top of keeping our bodies healthy and following the leads of our body. And I know that you have your hands on that. It's fascinating to me. Lori, for some of the audience that's watching tonight thinking, I want to be Carolyn Jackson, sitting right there sharing the same screen. That was our picture too for you tonight. You can tell how we work. But how can some of our audience get to be the one that's on our show, talking to us, sharing their passion, their dreams about the future? Can you tell our audience a little bit about how do they get here with us?
Yes, absolutely. So visit us on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/gratitudegirls. Also our website at gratitudegirls.com. You can watch all of our past shows as well as tune into our future shows. But on our Facebook page, there's a message section. You click that and send us your gratitude story. Catherine and I will both read it. And we will look at our calendar and figure out when we can schedule you to feature you and your story on our Gratitude Girls show next. We meet every single month, the fourth Tuesday night of every month. And that's always 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, 7:30 Mountain, and 6:30 Pacific.
Well, I want to thank you, Carolyn, for being our guest tonight. It was definitely worth waiting for you for a month to get on with us. We're so excited that you're here and that you've shared our Gratitude Girls platform and show with us. And Lori, I'm thrilled to see you, and you are beautiful inside and out. And I look forward to what we have ahead for us and to our audience. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for sharing our message with your friends, and continue to do that. If you have something to share with us, please get in touch with us. Lori, this is a big hug to you and to our audience, and until next month.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.